Hello and welcome. So in this show we've got quite an exciting one, I think it is. So Exodus here, as always. How you doing, Exodus?
Doing good. Excited to talk about today's topic, which is, using AI to build. And with Decred's, open source stack, there's just so much you can do.
I've been so impressed. Now I'm going to do some caveats before we get into this. Now, before, hey, hold on. I I've got YouTube open in the background, and it just it kind of jumped in on me. Hopefully, you guys didn't hear that. Yeah, so a couple of caveats before we get started. About a month or so ago, I was a bit dubious about this stuff. I've seen a few people building AI stuff. I saw the Decredinals, and I've seen some wallets, and it was always a bit. I'm not sure about this stuff. And then at some point last month, X just kind of got in touch with me, and he's saying, look what I've done. I've built this, and I've built some apps, and I won't get too much into them because I know X just wants to talk about them. So I just kind of thought to myself, you know what? It's now that time where you kind of just want to delve in and just have a look what this stuff is. In the past, as you get older in life, you kind of become a lot more skeptical. So it's kind of important to kind of keep in touch. So that's what I wanted to do. So I've given it a run. Exodus and Crumbles have both helped me kind of do a whole bunch of stuff and get myself up and running and try this stuff out. So I mean, massive kudos to you two. I mean, Exodus just blazed the way for me, because what he was doing with BTC Pay server and the other stuff he's worked on is absolutely incredible, and we're gonna show all of that stuff. But Crambles has also been incredible because he's ridiculously technical. So when I started building my Bison Relay stuff, he instantly got in touch with me, and he was going, you know what, Phoenix, this is junk. You haven't set it up properly. You need to go back and have a look at certain things. So he actually walked me through the process of actually working with other people, which I've never done before, really. I've done lots of projects on my own, but I've never been a part of a bigger project. So when you're working with Bison Relay and there's loads of people working on it, it's really important you kind of set it up properly. So he set up my branches, and he helped me separate all the different things that I was trying to do out. It's brilliant. I've been ridiculously impressed, actually. So I'll let Exus just talk to you for 2 seconds while I set up my little demo. I'm going to show you what I've been building. It's crazy cool.
Yeah, basically the newer models of Claude are just a leap and bound better than the past. Where in the past you would use AI to build things in code, and it would kind of just make things up. It would make up functions, and it was just be so difficult to get working things going. And the newer models deeply understand the code base, and you're really able to just do things in a proficient manner and actually ship apps. And yeah, you can, since Decred is completely open source, you can build all of the different apps from source and do your own changes. So you don't even have to wait on developers these days. So yeah, now from what I see, you have the basic generic Bison Relay GUI right there.
Yeah, and I mean, just to tip into to that as well. It's one thing that Decred, in my opinion, has been the weakest areas. We've got these incredible coders. There's no ifs or buts. When it comes to consensus code, they are absolutely amazing. But the front end stuff has kind of slipped behind, and it's kind of one of those things where you, as a user, you go, oh, can we just have this? And you really hate asking for it, because you know these guys are busy. The stuff that they're working on is so much more important than adding a button to an app. So having that power to say, actually, I've already kind of designed this. I designed what I'm going to about to show you today. I actually designed it over a year ago in Figma, and started putting it all together. But I had no kind of capabilities of getting past that, and I've even delved into Flutter. So I've been learning Flutter, I've been learning Go to get myself up to par with it. But getting to this point it's been crazy cool. Let me go big on this. So the idea here is, no matter what you do to Bison Relay, it should always offer itself to lots of different people. So for instance, the developers have built this interface for a reason. They like it, and they've built the functionality into it because they like it that way. So when you're developing this, and one of my original thoughts with this theming process was, no matter what I put in, it should be, when people open it up, they should be able to go to the absolute default setting. So no junk's being added, no clutter, no bloat. So the reason I've started with this page is because it shows you, even though I've actually built quite a lot here, if you want to go back to the default theme, it's actually ridiculously easy. So let's just show you around. This is just one thing I'm doing. I'm also doing a plugin system as well, which is still in some need of some work, but this is the theming system. So under appearance, what we used to have is this, you see my mouse, yeah. You used to have this messaging font size where you can change the font size to whatever you want. So you make it smaller or bigger or whatever. And then you had these two things. I'm not really sure how to use these, but that was all there was. So the idea here is at the very top, most people are not going to want to mess with this stuff, or if they do want to mess with it, they just want to do little touches. So at the top you have your theming area. You say, okay, I want to just set up a theme and I want to press save. So you can change it instantly, and that's all you have to do. And that's great. So that's the first thing you've got your default theme and you've got your light theme, and we can build more on this. And the minute you start editing, it actually gives you the capabilities of saying, I want a different theme. So here we go. If we press the dark theme now, you see it instantly creates this new theme, and you can kind of rename this whatever you want. So let's just call it test 1, test theme 1, whatever. Once you've renamed that, you can then press save, so it's going to be there in that list. And if you want to change backwards and forwards, you can as you want to see things happen, which I mean is absolutely incredible. So the next thing here, this color palette, for most people is probably all they want to do, is they just want to kind of have a dark theme, have a light theme, or just make some adjustments. So you might have your favorite apps. You might have a Twitter app, so you can go into the Twitter dark themes. VS Code I quite like, which has this little gray. These ones are not as polished yet. I'm still getting into this, but you can go into kind of the accents of all your favorite apps if you want. And I mean the WhatsApp one's quite interesting. But with doing very, very little, you can actually do quite a bit just in this area here. So if we save it, I'll take it off red actually. Red's a bit harsh. Let's go to the Twitter theme. And then if you don't like this theme, you can actually change any of the main colors. And I still need to work on this, but just to kind of show you how easy this is, you can just click into the primary color. You can choose whatever color you want and then press done, and it instantly updates it. And if you don't like that, of course, if you want to save it, you can just save it as a theme. So you have a new theme there. If you don't like it, you can just say, right, let's go back to VS Code theme. What do you think so far? What do you think of that, Exodus? You muted, bud.
Yeah, the colors are nice. That's a lot of choices for people. I'm curious, beyond the colors, did you add in the ability to add what was it, where you can see all the different contacts and they have the chat in the contact, and you can
I haven't finished it. Like I say, I'm working on the color palette mainly, but in actual fact, and let's caveat this as well. This was what Exodus built. So Exodus has built this lovely chat app, and he's built this lovely feed. So what my mission was, is to actually bring it in and then make it customizable as part of the theme. So if you go into the theme area, you can actually say, right, which area do you want to work on? So you can say, right, I want to work on the chat app, or I want to work on the feed app. Let's bring in the stuff that Exodus wants. So we can go into this. Oh, there's also an intro. So Exodus also did an intro where you can change the login screen. So if you click on the login screen, you've currently got the one that was pre-built, but you can also, oh, not that one, this one here, you can also go to Exodus's one as well. So if you want to, which is kind of like a nice techno type of screen, which I think is really cool. So yeah, in the chat app, so you can change the background color, you can add whatever image you want, you can add a border, you can change the border width and padding. So I like to have a little bit of padding between my kind of areas, because I'm kind of like to see the separation. So you can set all of this up. You can save all this as well as part of your theme. And then here's the stuff that Exodus is on about. So the initial thing to bring this in is I just literally put it as toggles on and off. But then you can extend it. So the next step is to extend it, so you can change the colors, you can change the sizes. But this one is the pin button. So if we turn the pin on, we head on over to chat, and then we click on one of these, select the pin, you'll see it's already there. And this has already been themed as well. So if you go back to settings, go back to appearances, it's this one here. So I haven't renamed it yet, but this is part of the message pop-ups and pins. So that's going to have its own kind of background, which I thought was quite cool. Let's keep going. So let's just bring in all the stuff that X has done. So X has done timestamps. He's done the new chat design, which you can change the radius. So X likes the really rounded corners, whereas I quite like mine flat, but you can do that now. So if you look here, you've got the rounded corners, but if you don't want that, you just come into this setting. Go on.
Are you able to drag it so you can make it longer? The chat preview.
Oh, sorry. Oh, this area here, yeah. So this is another thing I've done is people want consistency. So they can override the consistency, but they can also say, right, I want all of my sidebars to be the same. So if you head into the sidebar area, you can actually change the way it looks. So this is the default one from the main default theme, but you can also go to X. This is one which is resize drag to size. So now on every page you can literally resize it. So if we go back to the chat, you can literally resize it, which I think is quite a nice one. And then the next mission is if you want that overwritten on any page, you can also do that as well. Do you like that?
Yeah, the general idea was to just copy what Signal and WhatsApp do. So it's not trying to reinvent anything. It's just doing what the most popular chat apps already do. So I personally would like to see all of this just be the default. When the user installs it, all of that's there, and they don't need to search through the settings, even though you've given them like quite literally everything, which is cool. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you can do that. So you can literally say, right, even when you set up the app for the first time, you can literally have a toggle that says which theme do you want. So for instance, if you're on a mobile app, you should be able to just pick the mobile theme. So for this one, it would be test theme, but that could be whatever you want to call it, and that could be the default app. And this is the problem, isn't it? Is everyone wants something different, and I definitely agree with you that most people will kind of go towards the full product, but then they'll want a little change here or there, or at least that's the way I work. But yeah, so yeah, that's completely possible.
I really, hope Company Zero decide to merge some of these changes, because they're quite nice, right? To make Bison Relay a bit more accessible. You can add chat search. You can do the pin, as you did the pinned messages, replies. There's so many different things you can do with Flutter and Dart. You can really do basically anything. And I'm sure you want to show the feed to where the feed can look way better.
Oh, absolutely. So before I do that, I'll show you the other feature that X has added, which is the search button. So if you're in a chat, you can just click on the search, and you can search the conversation by any kind of text, which is completely useful when you're doing group searches and things like that. So that's a great addition. The other thing I want to show before we go on is, I don't know about you, but I like my images big when I'm looking at them. So I've actually added a setting where you can what's message layout? Oh yeah, that's the other thing you added. So the narrow conversation as well. So you can have it as a narrow conversation where they overlap. And I also added a toggle where you can expand it to fill the whole page. So you got that, and another toggle to where is it? There it is, to add a little bit of padding so that it doesn't butt up against the edge. And then this one here, I need to sort that out so I can type the number in. This one here, you can have it half width or full width. So when you go into it now, you can literally have a nice big image if that's what you want. Yeah. So that's that. So yeah, let's head over to the feed. So the feed, once again, it's got this new sidebar in which you can drag it to make it whatever size. You can press the read more button. All good stuff. So let's add all those features. So if we head into the feed section, and once again, they're all toggles at the minute with a little bit of customization as well. So feed card, tips is absolutely amazing feature. So now, in the past, the tips were like hidden away, whereas now when you go to the feed, they should be right there. There you go. Yeah, you can't see it on my own one because that's my post, of course. But now when you want to tip somebody, boom, it's right there. You don't have to open up any kind of extra panels or anything, which is great. Which before you had to right click on the user and do this, didn't you? Once again, that's a feature that Exodus has put together. Bookmarks, hide posts, feed sidebar, so that allows you to actually close the sidebar as well. Oh no, it's something different. This is the bit that Exodus makes it look a bit more like Twitter. So with that on, if you head over to feed now, you get a completely different sidebar with all these nice little options, which, yeah, that looks incredible, doesn't it? I really like that. Keep going. Inline composer, which adds this at the top, which is absolutely amazing. And then you've got all the composer features, so you can add the formatting buttons, attachment buttons, drafts. This is the hide sidebar, so when you're reading a post, you can actually hide that sidebar. So if you go into feed, you read this post and you notice the sidebar's gone, so you have this really concentrated area, which I quite like. So that's really cool. Other things that I've added to this to try and prettify this to make it look a little bit better. Let me turn on a few things. So let me go to the plugins. So this is still early day stuff, but the Pretty Links plugin is really cool. So it allows you to put a YouTube
I want to see how does spell check work?
Oh, it doesn't work at the minute. I've still got to build that out. I'm literally, with the spell check, I'm literally adding all the words. It gave me the options to add thousands of words, but I thought, you know what, I just need to do that slowly. But I can show it to you though. It doesn't work, but it kind of looks like it works. So if I start typing here, you get the spell check underline. So it's almost there, but the actual, I want it to be grammar and spelling, so it has to, there's still a lot more to do there. I've kind of put the plugin on a bit of hold for the time being, because I wanted to get the theme right, you know, the themify right. Yeah, so I've turned this on. So if we head back to themes now, what you have, if you've got a YouTube link or if you've got a Twitter link, you now get the visualized cards for it. So you no longer have to click off to somewhere else to actually go and see it. And I won't press this because it will give me feedback, but it actually plays as well, which is really cool. So what do you think of that? Next, keep moving on. So appearance. Sorry, X, were you talking then?
Yeah, I was just going to say, yeah, you can just do anything with Dart and Flutter, and you could just use Claude to go in and make all these changes and do all these great things.
I mean, Flutter was a genius move, because there's so many settings you can expose. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So last few things, and I'll kind of let Exodus take over. But these are the things I'm really quite happy with. So this is going to improve the way the feed looks. So first is, how do you want the image to be displayed? So you can have it on the left, you can have it on the right, you can have it full width, or you can have it full width cropped, or you can have it random, where it's a mixture of all these without, not this one, but it's this one. So if you press random and then you say, right, I want the image to crop at, I don't know, 250. It might glitch out here a little bit, because sometimes it has to restart before some of this happens. But now when we go back to the feed, and remember, this is a link, this isn't an image. But if we go back and we try and find an image, there we go. You see it's on the left now. Keep scrolling through. That's a reply. Then there's a full length one that's been cropped. So, you know, if you wanted to see the whole thing, if someone puts on a really long post, it might take you for ages to get to the end of the image. But with the crop feature, it kind of keeps everything really consistent, which is quite nice, I think. And then the final settings, if you come down here, you can have text ordering. So depending if you want to see the text first or the text last, you know, it'll always display the image first, which I think is quite cool. Another thing from Twitter is you can limit the amount of text that you see. So you say, right, we want just 300 characters. And then you can strip the markdown if you want as well. There's also one for links. So for instance, if there's a link and an image, you can just choose to turn the links off, or only turn the links off when there's an image, which just cleans everything up. So if we go back now, you should see that all the links have been cleared up, all the markdown has been cleared up, and you get these really nice kind of look. You know, yeah, this is the glitch I'm talking about. So this one here needs to, by some reason, needs to be closed down in order for that to show properly. But that's basically what I've been working on. So yeah, absolutely incredible. I mean, Flutter and the settings that you can expose are brilliant. I absolutely love it. And working on Bison Relay and trying to flush this stuff out has been absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it's for sure. It can make, if you can make Bison relays experience like Signal or WhatsApp, I think it's going to be used much more. But I would say for me personally, the biggest quality of life change was that one feature of having the message previews. Otherwise, you have to click through every single chat to see kind of where you were with them. So this is just a massive improvement in optimization. I guess I can show what I've been kind of working on as well. I've been working on doing the Decred integration into Passport Prime. It's a new hardware wallet, and basically they are allowing anyone to go in and build their own app. You don't have to do it based on firmware, so that allows us in Decred to go in and just do the app, and we don't have to worry about getting permission or giving them money or anything. So it's a really good, trade-off there. I'm just gonna pull up the app. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, no worries. YX just does that. I mean, if you've got any feelings about this sort of stuff, and obviously, although myself and Exodus are fairly technical, we're by no means the same technical ability as what the main Decred devs have got. But just looking at what can be achieved, or at least what can be kind of experimented with, and try and flush out some ideas, I think it's absolutely great. So I think there's a lot of potential here. One of the things that I have to do next on Bison Relay is actually get the build or the theme plugin built so that it's more readable for a dev. So when they come to review this stuff, it's a lot easier. So I need to talk to one of those guys about actually what's the best approach for separating the files, because at the minute it's just chucked it in one big long file. So what generally happens is you put it into a folder and then you separate the files out. So for instance, the actual color palette will have its own file, and as will the other sections. So you can actually kind of make it a lot easier for people to read. So Exus is sharing one here. Oh, it's lovely. Let's see what we can do here. There we go. That's quite nice. Go on.
I have to remember where I put the Decred app. I just had to update it because they updated their latest stuff. So this is just a simulation of the device, and I have to see if I even, because they did just do a new release, and I was trying to get everything ready, and I'm not seeing my Decred app right now. It's not good. Where did I put it? Let's see.
This
might have
is
to come back to this. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the foundation hardware wallet we're looking at here, and Exus has been building the app using AI to kind of get it up to scratch. So Decred might actually get a hardware wallet after all these years, which would be incredible.
Yeah, but they sent me, let's see, they sent me an actual device to do the testing, which is really cool. So I think these sell for 350 US, but yeah, so once they get the app store going, we'll be able to do the tests of the Decred app. I had some screenshots of it on Twitter. Let's see. I've been working on a few other things, but yeah, it's pretty interesting because basically it derives the master key that you use for Bitcoin and just uses it for Decred. So Decred works with BIP39 seeds. So the same seed that you generate on the device that works with Bitcoin will work with Decred. So it'll just work out of the box. It's pretty interesting. They give you these key cards so you can save your seed on the key cards, and you don't have to necessarily write it down if you don't want to. And if you want to restore the seed, you just tap the cards to the device, and it'll restore your seed, which I thought was pretty interesting. It's they're trying to innovate how people write down their seed words and stuff. You can write them down if you want.
Sorry, Exus. Is that a digital card then you just showed us?
Well, it's a card with NFC, so you can tap it to your device and restore your seed. So when you do the seed ceremony and set up the device, it tells you to tap these cards, and you have to tap two of the cards out of the three to restore the seed if you want to. But I thought that was pretty innovative, and the idea was they think writing down your seed words is kind of outdated. And, this is it's quicker, it's easier. You don't have to get out a pen and paper and write down the words.
I think, I don't think I would ever not write down the seeds, but actual fact, what you just showed there just blew my mind actually. I was like, you know what? that's what a lot of people that are worried about writing down the wrong writing down the wrong words or losing them are most worried about. If you've got a card like that, I mean, yeah, that's I've never seen that before. Actually, that's really cool.
Yeah, I suppose now I could show the website I've been working. I can come back to this once I see what happened to my Decred app. I was just playing around with this the other day, and I had to revert everything because again they updated to a new version, and I wanted to be everything in line for when we test on the device. One command.
While you're doing that, we've got a few people reacting to what we've just shown them. So Jotto has said looks awesome. Tivra's, I think Air signifies Tivra, isn't it? Saw JYP's DIY post. The reskin of BR is great. Good job. Ask Opus 5 or Soul 5.6 to refactor. Yeah, that was what I was intending to. I was hoping to get just a little bit further and then do a massive refactor, because as it currently stands, is literally just one big file, so it does need to be broken down to make it more readable. But yeah, thanks, Tibber. That's brilliant. And then he has said, nice foundation would be great. Yeah. Oh, fantastic. And isn't it nice that we can build up this positivity? I think it's great. Right, Exus is sharing another screenshot. What's this, an Exus?
I got it. So this is all going to change. I'm waiting on the new release, and they want it to look like a smartphone where you have, all your different apps on the main screen. But for right now, we have it sitting in our main menu, and it's just a basic app where, you launch it and you have all your things. You have your receive, just like anything else. You can sign transactions. You can scan via QR code. You can load. This is pretty interesting. It doesn't actually work with SD card. It can, but you can actually just do it directly with USB-C. So you can plug your device in and just, as you can see, we did a bunch of test transactions. So we did a bunch of device hardening. So if you I think I have it written down here. So if you do a giant fee, it'll tell you, hey, this is a crazy high fee. So the device has a bunch of the app has a bunch of hardening in it where you can it's trying to protect the user from malicious transactions, right? It'll actively refuse bad transactions, which is pretty interesting. Let me try to find a good transaction. No, so we did a lot of let's see. So if you load in a transaction, it looks like this. It tells you who you're sending to. This isn't final, by the way, but this is just kind of our test where it tells you everything that's happening. It will actually verify the change to your own keys and let you know, which is cool. And then you just click approve and sign, and it signs the transaction. And then via the same USB, you can upload it to, say, Decred Pulse, or we're going to have Decrediton support as well, and you can sign via there. And then this is the pair wallet. So this is how you would go and pair this wallet with your companion wallet. So the way this kind of works is basically this doesn't have DCR wallet in it. This doesn't have SPV or anything. This is just a signer. This just has the Decred cryptography to create accounts, to generate addresses, but the front the brain of it is still going to be Cake Wallet or Pulse or Decrediton that handle the UTXOs, that handle the broadcasting of transactions. So none of that is in here. There's no syncing. There's none of that. You just pair it to one of your current wallets. And then we have accounts. You can create different accounts like usual, and you can even create a passphrase wallet, which is kind of extreme. Basically, the way it works is you do a passphrase, but this creates an extra seed word to your list. So it's a little extreme, and we do warn the user, like, you have to remember this. And so you can basically create a hidden wallet. And it's kind of interesting because there's no wrong password. It will always create a new wallet based on that password. But if you've already created one and added funds, it'll bring that wallet back. And this is still very much a work in progress, and we can, oh, that's the wrong area. We want to go back to normal accounts. And yeah, this is still very much a work in progress, but you'll be able to update the number of coins you have and everything. I might change a few different things here. But yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. You can receive, you can sign transactions like normal on a device that is cold storage. It is air gapped. It cannot connect to the internet. And that's really the value of the hardware wallet, is when you generate that seed, it's never connected to the internet, right? And this is, something pretty interesting. I learned about cryptocurrency in general. When you do addresses, when you do the seed, it doesn't need to be connected to the internet because they've always existed in the cryptography, if that makes sense.
Yeah. There was a couple of things I was going to ask. So, I mean, this is
And I should say this is all mainnet. This is not testnet. So this all already works.
So Foundation is already supported from Cake Wallet, isn't it? That was one of the reasons you chose this.
Yes. So Cake Wallet's doing their own app. For some reason, they're doing it privately, so I can't work with them on it, even though I would like to. But we want to do our own Decred app, and the reason is we want this to work on Pulse. And we want it to work on Decrediton. So we want to give the desktop option. So it already works on Pulse. So, because Caramble moves so fast, we were able to do the offline signing, like within 30 minutes. It was just crazy. And the Pulse can also pass to the device your information, how many coins you have and the price. Because the device can't connect to the internet, it can't do that on its own. It has to rely on your companion app to pass off that information. So you can choose to do that if you want to. What's interesting is on their own device, they don't even do that. They don't even pass off the information of how many coins you have. And maybe that's a security thing, because what you do is you use your phone. You use the companion app to talk with the device and do all the transactions from your companion app, just like we are going to have it with Decred.
So when you say we, is there someone we should be giving some credit to?
No, I'm just saying we as a general term, like we as in the Decred community.
Gotcha. I didn't know if you was working with Carambles on this or somebody else, but
I'm working with him for the pulse side of things, which let me show the Pulse if I can get out of that.
I mean, it's absolutely incredible. It's incredible, and it really kind of does bring home this idea when you've got technical people or moderately technical people together and can actually start doing this stuff for themselves and innovate the changes that they want. I just think it's brilliant. Right, so we've got Pulse coming up. Here we go.
Yeah, Pulse, and basically this is what this is this is a watch only wallet. So we can that's what I was showing you with the pair wallets. You import a watch only wallet, and so we can view the funds on we can view all the funds, we can view the transactions, but we cannot spend. We can only spend once it has been signed on the device. So you can, create your transaction like normal here. You would send it to the device via USB. You would sign it on the device, and then you would upload the transaction here, and then you just broadcast it to the network. And then here you can update the device display balance and everything. At some point, I'll do a video kind of showing this more in depth. I don't have everything prepared right here to do it right here on the live stream, but as you can see, it's pretty straightforward. It's just like doing any normal transaction, but obviously first you have to sign it on the device.
Yeah, it'd be good. I think a lot of people would like that, and I know a lot of people in Decred have wanted Ledger and all the other hardware support for a long time. So to seeing this happen,
that's the thing. We do support Ledger, but Ledger is like the worst one. Ledger has all these issues with leaking data. They're not open source. I think they removed Decred from Ledger Live because they wanted some crazy amount of money. So right now we have the old version of Trezor, which they don't even sell. So Trezor actively boxed out Decred from their newer devices, which was ridiculous. So I think doing this, brings quite a bit of value of giving Decred users a legitimate cold storage option from the devices made in America, and it can do a few other things. It has security keys. I don't know if you can see this, but you can use this as a FIDO2 key, which is like a YubiKey. So you can, when you log into a website now, you can do security keys. I don't know if you've seen that with Coinbase or Kraken. So you can connect this device via USB and use this as a key, and you can make as many keys as you want. You can also do your 2FA keys on the device, and the general idea there is, once again, you're air gapping your 2FA keys. So, they're never exposed to the internet. That's the 6-digit keys you use. So you can do that as well. So, and they're going to be adding other apps. There's going to be a password manager. So they're marketing this as not just a hardware wallet. It's going to be a security device for your digital life. So it does a bit more. So yeah.
I just got you bigger so you could show what you wanted to show then. Oh, you muted.
Yeah, you can use this as a security key, and you can use it via NFC or via USB. I don't know if I can get that, but yeah,
Yeah. Ah, that looks incredible, man.
it's good stuff. And I guess I can show. Let's see. Take a look at some Decred website stuff now, eh?
Well, when you think about, I mean, well, actually, when you see some of the chat, the element chat, I've seen over the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've seen a lot of people going, "Oh, let's rethink about this Aaron's proposal," and things have been coming up about that quite a bit, and it does prove that a lot of people do want the refresh or the redesign, but I think it's also fair to say that unfortunately, I think that one probably isn't going to come to anything. So it's interesting for us now to actually say, right, the community wants the refresh. Is there anything we can do about it? And this is what X has been working on. And once again, we've put Claude into action. And X has actually, out of his own pocket, went out and bought the most expensive Claude so he could put this together. And he's been asking various members of the community for feedback, including myself, and actually ridiculously impressed with the results. And yeah, and I think this is kind of proving a new kind of foundation for how we move forward with the things that we want. And obviously this still takes a lot of time. How long have you spent on this website, Exodus?
A few weeks. I've been kind of going back and forth with a few different things, but I'm not fully happy with it just yet. Let's see if this is this even at 100%. Okay, this is at
Almost.
100%. Yeah, it's still a work in progress, and I'd be curious to see how people kind of feel about it with, maybe this image here, the general layout of things. But it's pretty straightforward using the money evolved tagline. We'll get into it, but basically some stats on, like, the uptime, the governance consensus rules, treasury funding, you own it, you govern it. Just the basic Decred information. Bitcoin proof digital scarcity, Decred proof digital governance. The missing piece was always who decides what happens next. All the basic. Really boils down to if people like the look of kind of this, just kind of black and white, and with the Decred green and blue. So I've been playing around with a few different backgrounds and whatnot.
I really like those graphics that you just scrolled through. I think that graphic there in particular is really nice. And actually, I'd like to see similar graphics in the Decred docs. And that's something else I've been thinking about is, with all this power in our hands, and on a few shows now, I've kind of talked about, I would like, if no one else is going to take up the mantle of improving the docs, maybe to kind of start picking away at that, and having those kind of graphics would be incredible.
Yeah, and here's a Decred Bitcoin comparison, because really this is the big point of Decred, is the governance. So you really have to dive into that on why it matters. Your money, nobody's business. Talking about the privacy, the stake shuffle stuff. I thought this section came out pretty good. Deflationary, scarce by design. About how, we have that 1% block reduction every 21 days, how there's only 21 million coins, and how, Decred's going to get more and more scarce over time. And then we highlight there's nearly 64% of the circulating supply is time locked. So yeah, all the basic Decred stuff, just trying to be informative and trying to, make it interesting. Basically, this isn't complete. I've noticed here, like, some of this stuff isn't lined up correctly. I've been doing a lot of different edits lately. Money that evolves by design.
A couple more graphics look amazing. Yeah. I love them.
Chaos instead of consensus. With legacy crypto and Decred, you vote. Just trying to get some of these hard, difficult concepts across that people generally don't understand. Explaining that it's evolving money, right? That's the main tagline. Decred isn't just a peer-to-peer digital currency. It's a monetary system that upgrades itself, governed by stakeholders. And then you kind of have this, get started section of, buy DCR, self-custody it, stake and vote, and trade on the DEX. And then we even have go further with, BTC Pay Server, which we have more or less completed. So I think it would be good to encourage people to be merchants. And then we have the Bison Relay shout outs. So not a whole section of Bison Relay, but we do have it on the main page of, hey, we have this encrypted messaging platform. You can go check it out. And then, the final, put it to work, get the wallet, do exchanges. So here's the wallet section, pretty straightforward. Again, your keys, your coins, pointing people at the Crediton, Bison wallet, Cake wallet. And then we even have, the nice, you can install it on Umbrel if you want. We have, Decred Pulse. Nice big section for Decred Pulse because it does so many things. And then we have the hardware wallets. And yeah, pretty straightforward. And then we have exchanges, the same kind of sleek design, no images or anything, just nice and sleek, nice, good performance, Kraken, Binance, Mexi, all the different exchanges. And then, of course, we have the proposals, the docs, the data.
The exchange page already looks a million times better, and the fact that it's already got Kraken on there, and it literally kind of helps you just guide towards those things. So, and I love the kind of metal black look, or gunmetal, I suppose it's called, with the kind of graininess in the background. Yeah, that's nice, mate. That's really nice.
Yeah, this section's like still very much work in progress. Of we have an entire page dedicated to governance, because that is the main feature of Decred, and you really have to dive into that. Of, hey, you can change the consensus rules. Hey, we have 10 years of things shipped on chain, and it shows kind of all the different achievements we have. And at the end, it's like, what's next? Your vote. The roadmap is whatever stakeholders decide. We dive into the ticket. One ticket, 4 powers. It's talking about all the different things you can do with the ticket. I think I might have to change this section because it's just a bit too much text. And then we have this nice little animation of, you lock the Decred, you get some tickets, you validate blocks, and you govern the chain. So it's trying to kind of simplify what is the big deal about Decred versus other coins, right?
Graphics look amazing, and they're consistent as well, which is something we've never had before. This kind of graph flowing thing is I like that, and it's very reminiscent of those explainer videos we had done a few years back.
Yeah. And then, it dives a little deeper in, I think I posted this on Twitter, of, you upgrade first, you vote second, some of the more nuanced things about Decred of the elegant upgrade system. Again, this is the governance page, so it dives in a little bit more. Yeah, proposals nobody can quietly delete. I think this is one of the things that gets overlooked quite a bit is how elegant Politeia is, where there's that censorship resistant, that everything is timestamped on the chain. It even says here, it's anchored, it's not archived, You get a receipt, and the money ultimately answers to the tickets. And then we have kind of the different stats of 60% required to vote. This graphic I need to update. It's a little messy, but again, the self-funding, 10% of every block reward, the ticket holders hold the key to the treasury. We have the famous Chris Berninski quote here: Decred's killer features good governance. And then this is something I'm probably going to change, but you want to make Decred better. This is a big part of it. All you propose, you build, and you get paid in Decred. So yeah. And once again, we have the call to get a wallet or browse proposals or whatever. So yeah, that's it. I hope people like it. It's not finished. I want to have a few different passes to do, but I like the general idea of, like you said, it's this technically abstract gunmetal. It's not distracting. It's serious. It uses the Decred colors. I really like the white and black. And yeah,
the white and black really works actually, and it's functional, isn't it? That's the best thing. How does it look on mobile devices? When it's
sorry, on what?
How does it look when it's small on like mobile devices?
It looks good. It's obviously it's quite a bit of information, but that's something I still have to optimize, of making sure it looks good. Like on mobile, it doesn't have the image of this; it just has the left side. But it's fine. It's functional. It looks pretty good. So yeah.
Great work. And SHJ has said the project looks great. Well done, Exodus. So yeah, absolutely. And this is really this is really the power of what Exodus and Crambles have been pioneering. Is this idea is Decred needs not a lot of stuff, but it's starting to kind of feel like there needs to be refreshes, there needs to be updates, and people like myself, Exodus Crambles, we're kind of stepping up into that role, even though we're kind of out of our depth a little bit. But when you see what can be achieved, even in the demos we showed today, you start thinking, you know what, we can take a lot of weight off of the main devs. Yes, ultimately a lot of the core stuff they'll have to review and all the rest of it, but actual fact, a lot of the weight in kind of concepting this stuff can be taken off their shoulders, which is lovely actually. And already what I'm seeing, even in these early stages, has been crazy impressive. Did you have something else to show there, Exus?
Yeah, Bison Relay website.
I'll bring it up then. Where is it?
I'll just quickly. Yeah, can you see it?
I can't see it, mate. Do you want to just do it again?
Let's see. Can you see it?
There we go.
Let's see. All right. Yeah, just same general kind of theme as I think one thing Aaron was correct on with his stuff was that the website should all kind of share a similar theme and look. So kind of the same idea. We've got the nice Bison Relay symbol. And yeah, I kept the same copywriting from the current website. I didn't think that needed to be changed, but added in a little bit of graphics to help kind of understand why Bison Relay has value. It's pretty interesting. For instance, you send a message, the relay just sees an encrypted blob of numbers. Everything's hidden, right? And then you can monetize content. It's 1 atom per kilobyte. It's basically free to use Bison Relay. Like, I think I've been using it for years and I've spent way less than $1 for everything. Again, the relay operator just sees blobs of information. So super private. There's not even accounts. There's no accounts. There's no identity. Censorship isn't possible. And then, it's fully featured. You can do peer-to-peer voice calls, send images, direct messages and group chats, payments. So again, this isn't a complete website, but it's, I think it's a little bit of an upgrade than the current one. And then we have a full blown, get the Decred page on this website, which is missing from the current Bison Relay website, because you need Decred to start, and it tells you, hey, you need 0.1 DCR to start using Bison Relay. So I think this website's a little bit more informative than the current one, where it's really conveying, you don't need a phone number, email address, all these different things. You just need your keys. It's super private. So yeah, I think this looks a bit better. I'm still not sure if I want to use any orange at all, even though we kind of use orange for Bison Relay a little bit.
I don't mind the orange contrast, but yeah, like you say, that's a preferential thing. But no, you're completely right. Aaron was right in one thing, and that's everything that all the different websites that Decred has. And let's face it, under the Decred.org umbrella, there's actually quite a few different things. They all need to have this consistency, which they currently don't, and even down to the docs. And I know when I was looking through the Aaron's refresh proposal, I was clicking through his website, the one thing that hit me straight off was how many times he actually used links to the docs, and the minute you went to the docs, it just broke the experience. So if you are, and rightly so, you should use docs, because actually a lot of the good information is there, although it does need updating. But having docs look similar to the websites and have a similar header, have a similar navigation header, so you can go backwards and forwards a lot easier, will improve the experience. And no one really, when you're browsing the internet or browsing a website or finding out about product, no one really wants to feel like they're visiting 10 different websites. They all want a coherent kind of flow to it. So what you've done there with those two sites, yeah, absolutely amazing. I love the dark. I love the gunmetal. It's not grey, it's black, and the kind of grey, the graininess to it as well. I just think that's that's really cool.
I just really wanted it to look serious, right? I borrowed some elements from actually VC websites, because those are the people with the money, you want it to look serious, that this is a serious project and it's doing good things. And I think it comes across pretty good. There's definitely some optimizations to make, but yeah, if people want to see this as the website, we can do that. It'll go to proposal and people will vote. And if they want it, they vote yes. If they don't, they vote no. And I'll be happy either way, because ultimately it is up to the stakeholders. But I think it's really important we drive home on the main website that this is a serious project and it does a lot of good things that Bitcoin doesn't do. And that the main one is the governance. So that's why I gave governance its own kind of page, and it really dives into things a bit more than we've normally seen on the website of Polity is censorship resistant. Here's all the tickets. Here's all the things they do. The voting upgrade is done in this kind of elegant way where the entire network upgrades first. It's like these small details that I think people would be interested in. So yeah.
Absolutely. And I do think that these things, especially the websites, it's not a short thing. We saw with Aaron's proposal that took him a best part of a year to kind of get to that stage. I'm not sure the process they used, but it does take a while, and especially if you are going to do the docs and you're going to do all the websites and try and merge them all in together, it does take a while. But there is a lot of value in there, and hopefully, once this stuff's ready, and if Exodus does decide to put it up for proposal, hopefully we get some clout behind it, and we can actually not just implement what we've currently got, but keep improving. And that's also one of my biggest criticisms is even with the last refresh that you guys did, it kind of like, we've done this, we've put it up there, and boom, we leave it. And I always think with the website, it's kind of an organic thing. It just needs constant revisiting, constant kind of iteration and improvement. And one final thing to that, and I know that the Decred guys they're not against this, but it's something that I would like to see, and that is a proper roadmap going forward, or some kind of plan, so that people like yourself, people like myself, and other technical people that want to kind of get involved in this can actually see, Decred wants this built or is planning to do this, and get involved. And having a roadmap would be very, very cool. And that's not me saying, hey, Company Zero have got to achieve these goals. That's not it at all. It's more about saying, look, in order for us to hit the next milestone, the next 5-year milestone, X, Y, and Z needs to be worked on. And it's clear that there are technical people amongst us that can work on that. But I think a plan needs to start coming out of all this so that we can kind of communicate who's doing what and what needs to be done.
Yeah, it's the thing is with these new AI tools. I mean, this stuff does not take very long to do. The website did not take me months. It took a few weeks of going back and forth, and really the crux of it was done within a few days. But you do have to take a lot of time to go in and make sure everything makes sense. And the background kind of took me a while to arrive at that point of getting that nice gunmetal feel. And yeah, it's kind of interesting. Dave's been doing a bunch of work on DCRD to optimize it. He's really honing in. And this is kind of crazy detail. There's a Coinbase developer, guy who works at Coinbase, who's been helping him on DCRD, doing a bunch of PRs and stuff. And this is all public. All the PRs are public, so this isn't private information. But there's a Coinbase cryptographer who's actually been helping him and doing a bunch of great work for Decred, which is cool because they're doing it on their own dime. But anyways, Dave asked me to review one of his PRs using Claude 5, and he was like super impressed with it. He said it did tests and things he'd never seen before. And Claude was really impressed with his work. He's like, yeah, this is amazing work. But Dave had a post on Bison Relay about how I think he's improving the optimization of DCRD, something with it by like 65%. So there's some big changes coming, which is really cool to see. So yeah, that's going to be good. I had one more thing I built using Claude. I don't know if you guys, I can quickly show it, but basically it's a, let me share my screen really quick. Window, there it is. And basically, let's see, can you see it? Let's see. Basically what it is it is a inheritance app using Decred time locks. It's called DCR Deadman. And the general idea is in cryptocurrency, we don't have a great way of passing funds once you die, inheritance. And basically what this does is let's see, I can basically create an inheritance plan. This is showing what the mobile app would look like, but basically using Decred's own time locks, those same time locks you use for staking, you can go in and create a inheritance plan, and it'll pretty interesting. It'll give you seed words as the owner. It'll give you seed words for your heir. So say you want to pass your funds to someone when you die, you can use this plan. You can give them these seed words. And it actually, this is kind of crazy. Decred never had descriptors, and I use Claude to create a entire descriptor path. And what that does is it can point to the contract on the blockchain, because what this is ultimately it's a contract. So you save all these different things, and then you would fund your plan. And basically, you can put funds into this contract, and then if you don't check into the contract, so you check in by doing a small transaction. And let me just go to one of my plans that has money in it. Or let's see, no, I haven't done any of these. Okay, so this one I have some small funds on it. It was a 90-day time lock, and some time has passed. And all I do is I click check in now. I think, and I just checked in, and it's reset to 90 days. And all it does is it sweeps the account and sends the funds to the same spot, but it resets that time lock. And say you're the heir, you just go down here and you can claim the funds if that person hasn't checked in after the allotted time. So in this case, 90 days. Does this make sense? I know this is kind of a lot.
No, actually, I don't know if any of you watching want to go back a few years. I did an interview with what was his name? Oh God, Decred, not Decred in Depth. It was one of those ones, but he actually talked to me what was one of the biggest things that I wanted for crypto, and you've just built it.
Well, yeah, I built it off of there's in Bitcoin there's this company called Nunchuck, and they have their own wallet and stuff, but this is what they have. And this is interesting because it's a completely self-custodial solution to doing this. You don't have to rely on anyone. You can use the Decred blockchain to sign, or you can do DC or SPV. So right now I'm just using I'm using the Explorer, but you can use it in SPV. And this is what the mobile app would look like. So eventually I'll do a desktop app and mobile app across all the platforms. We'll see if anyone even wants this, but it's a pretty interesting solution that's self-custodial and just uses Decred's own crypto. And say you put money into this contract, you can withdraw at any time. You can do the owner exit, and you can withdraw all the funds to your own address, and you can use the encrypted password, or you can just enter in your seed words to do that withdrawal. And here it kind of has the basic info. You lock your Decred in a contract. There's a timer. If you don't check in, meaning you potentially died, your heir that you've given your seed words to can recover the funds. So it's a pretty interesting thing, and what I think is a big problem in crypto is the inheritance. If you're stuffing your seed words in these private places and you happen to die, it's like, what happens to your funds?
It's not just a big problem in crypto, it's actually the biggest problem. And I don't know if you've got the same over where you are, but inheritance tax in this country is ridiculous. And the amount of money that you actually pay to solicitors to actually orchestrate your will is ridiculous. You're talking, well, it depends on how much you have, but best part of 30 to 50% of your wealth goes to inheritance tax and fees. So having something like this where you never have to deal with any of that, and it just goes ping, absolutely. This is one of the big things that I think is what makes Decred so different. If you think about stocks, if you think about property, if you think about money in its conventional form, there's no way of avoiding inheritance tax in this country. Whereas with crypto, with this particular app, it's huge actually, because you avoid all of that, and for the sake of probably the best part of 15 pence or 15 cents, whatever you want to say, probably even less than that to be fair, more like half a cent, you can literally transfer your inheritance to all the people you want. Out of interest, does it allow for multiple endpoints. So obviously you're going to have, for me in particular, I would have 3 or 4 different airs. So
So, right, I mean, that's not something I have yet. I mean, I would be curious if you could do that because I think it just derives, it creates these seeds based off the contract. So maybe you could create a bunch. Probably for the first pass, I would just focus on the one air. But yeah, that's a good suggestion. It might get a little complicated, but it does use something that nothing in Decred has, which is a descriptor, which is like the formula that points at the contract on the blockchain. Otherwise, if you don't have that, you can lose the contract to the blockchain, right? Because it needs a way to find that specific contract. So that's one element of it that's a little scary. Of even if you have the error seed words, if you don't have something that the descriptor that points to the contract, you could lose the money. So it is a little risky, but it is completely self-custodial. I mean, just as you risk your funds by being fully self-custodial, with the seed words, you would need the descriptor image. Cow has asked in the chat, would be great to have a webinar or workshop that shows how to get started using Claude to connect with Decred assets. I mean, yeah, all you do with Claude is you point it at the GitHub repo. You just say, "Hey, here's the GitHub repo. I want to start building here," and it'll walk you through everything of how to build from open source on your own computer, whether it's Windows, Mac, Linux. It doesn't matter, and you can just ask it anything. You ask me, "Hey, I don't know what I'm doing. Walk me through this." Right? That's the great thing with AI. It can help you anywhere. But the latest models, Opus 5 just came out. Claude Fable 5 are amazing. And you might have to pay for it. That's the reality. You might have to pay $20 or $100 a month, but I think it's completely worth it to have what is essentially a senior developer at your fingertips at any time that doesn't sleep is mind-blowing.
yeah, see, my setup's slightly different to that. So if you are someone that likes to delve into the code and look what's being created, in actual fact, using Claude, and I'm just using one of the, I mean, I've got the $18 Pro subscription, but I'm actually using, I want to say Sonata or something like that. It's not Opus, it's the one below that. And I'm using it with VS Code. And so when you open up VS Code, you literally have a panel for Claude, or no, you have to install the plugin, and then you've basically got Claude in your repo. So from that point there, you say, hey, I want to build a Decred Flutter app. I want to install DCRD, and like X said, you can point it to whatever repo you think will be most useful, and then it can start planning it for you. It can build your folder structure, but it also will look at dependencies as well. So with Flutter in particular, you've got all these different things that need to be installed before you can do anything, and it walks you through all of that stuff as well. And it even sets up for Bison Relay, it sets up a development environment so that you can literally put Bison Relay in debug mode, keep editing it, and then press the uppercase R, and it does a refresh in real time to show you exactly what's happening. Once again, an absolutely powerful feature of Flutter, and a great reason that probably Bison Relay was built on it is kind of working with a real app. So even in debug mode, you're working with a real app, which I'm not sure I've ever done that before. In the past, you'd always have your prototype, and then you'd upload it to the server or whatever. So it's an incredible way to work, and certainly Flutter makes that incredibly easy. One of the things that I'm looking at, especially for Bison Relay, is this plugin system. There's a lot of things that Bison Relay could probably do that it will probably never do. But once you add a plugin system where it says basically, hey, you can plug this into Bison Relay, you won't mess with the core code, but you can add all these extra features. It becomes really, really powerful. So you can work from a base of Bison Relay rather than having to keep building your own app, which is what I've seen a lot of people do. They build their own wallets, or they build their own functionality. You can actually build on something that has this really solid core and add the functionality you want. Now, I was saying to Exus before the show started, Crumbles was in touch with me today, basically saying, hey, did you know that AI MVP, or I think that might be the right thing, is now available in Unity. Was it Unity? No, Unreal. And maybe there's some opportunity there for building games and things. And it blows your mind at some of the stuff that you can do here. And I've said this before as well. I would love to see I would love to see gaming on Decred. I think that offers a massive potential there. So maybe once I've got this theming stuff done, I might look at a plugin for that as well. What do you reckon to all that, the Nexus?
Yeah, yeah. As far as, with these new AI tools, I think the gaming stuff's just going to be super much easier to implement and have a good UX to do betting or whatever on the blockchain. So yeah, I mean that's really what I'm trying to encourage people here. And what we're trying to encourage with this stream is like you don't have to be a developer anymore to do any of this stuff. You don't have to go and ask the devs, "Hey, I want this feature." You can just go build it. You can go build it. The Decred code, all the code bases are completely open source. DCR decks. I was doing some work on DCR decks as well, improving the UI on the latest version. I think it was 1.1, which is unreleased. But there's just so much you can do. You can go and make Decred better with your own apps, your own anything. And these tools are so powerful, and the fact that they're just going to get better is it's really mind blowing.
Did you see, whilst we're talking about DCRX, two things. Firstly, Decred Pulse 2 has got a lovely UI for DCR decks. But did you see that the library guys have just built their pair? Literally, and I'm presuming they must have done that with AI, but they've literally opened up their own DCR decks or Bison wallet, and they've literally built the pair for it. And they had a thing on Twitter to show it off, a little video. And that's the real power, isn't it, of this open source stuff? It's Bison Wallet is incredible, and people now are just saying, "Hey, I want my product on there," and they've gone ahead and done it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if it gets merged. So we'll see what kind of happens there. I mean, right now we only have Decred Bitcoin on the DEX, and they were having some stability issues, so they just shut all the other coins off. And from what I'm hearing, they're not going to enable the USDC until there is a market maker. So if someone wants to do a market maker for DC or USDC, like let us know. Otherwise, I think it's going to remain off. And then as you and I discovered, there were some issues with Polygon, which I don't think got fixed. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there.
I mean, honestly, I feel at this point after Peter Zen did a whole bunch of work and he got it onto Umbra, which is absolutely amazing. So I thought, you know what, he's got the new version on there. I'm going to test it, and there's so many bugs. It's not. It's. I don't want to be disrespectful, but it's not even funny. So yeah, hopefully that gets fixed. I would love to see USDC back, and I'd love to be using Bison Wallet rather than using, which is my biggest thing is Kraken. So I love Kraken, but really I want to use Bison Wallet. I want to use DCR Dex. But in terms of being merged, it'll be interesting to see if people like these library guys don't actually kind of spin it off into their own separate project as well. So which, it'd be interesting to see other people take up the mantle and us feeding into that for a change, which would be quite interesting as well. But the actual pair that they had running was Decred to library. So, fair play to him. I think that was it Ruse? Ruse, I think his name is.
Yeah, I wish him luck. Unfortunately, we don't have any developers right now for the decks. Peter Zen was interested in doing some stuff, but he kind of got shut down a little bit. So yeah, it's kind of in limbo right now. But hey, it's great that they wanted to add their coin to Dex, and like you said, they could technically just fork it and run their own server. There's nothing stopping them from doing that.
Well, presumably that must be what they're doing because, like I say, it was live. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Oh, did you see Bitmarked is shut down? What do you make of that?
Yeah, Bitmart, Ascendex, BitMEX are all going offline. I guess the bear market has been so brutal, and the fall off of all the meme coins, like they just can't make money anymore. I don't know. It's super odd to me. It felt like for the longest time they were making money from trying to charge coins listing fees of $10,000 to $20,000. But hey, I mean, it just makes something like Bison Wallet and DCR Dex just that more important, right? Like we need to have a way for people to buy and sell Decred, without the KYC or the permission.
So there it
Yep.
is. It'll probably go back
Swap.
on loop. Have you seen this?
Yeah, yeah, they do the swap. That's nice. DCR to library coin. Let's see.
Yeah, so they put their own pair up there, so they're clearly running their own server, and it's incredible actually. And it shows the potential of open source stuff. Even though our team has completely vanished now, there is still enough scope here that people want to do this. Now, my only argument is that the core stuff needs to be finished. So obviously these guys have worked out how to merge or implement their own pairs, which is great. That's one thing that's taken care of. But the core stuff still needs to be sorted out. So getting mesh working would be an absolute, the last step really, and then all the kind of bug fixes around that. But it would be lovely to see the core guys, the Company Zero or somebody else with a lot of technical experience, just kind of finish that. And I think from that point onwards, the DCR Dex goes into maintenance kind of mode, and everyone starts to kind of put their own pairs up. But I'm presuming that's what these guys have done. So yeah, incredible. We're over an hour, Exodus. Oh my god, this is one of the longest ones. If you guys have got any questions, if there's anything else you would like to see us do, and maybe I might even do a little demo to show you my process. The problem with that, of course, is the command line has personal details in it, so it's not as easy to kind of do as I would like to. But if I can work that out, I'll show you guys a demo of the process, and maybe I'll even start a project and walk you through it or whatever, or vice versa if Exodus wants to take up the mantle on that. But there is definitely scope here for semi-technical people to actually improve Decred's core stuff, and to not be on the sidelines anymore. Get involved, make the things that you want. And I can see over the next year we're gonna kind of start checking off some of these things that we've wanted for a little while.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be up to the community to just get things done and not rely on developers, and just make use of these tools. This is what I've been telling some people, is like, these amazing tools exist. Just go build things, do good things for Decred. So yeah, but yeah, we have a lot coming, so it's definitely good to show some of this stuff to people. Like I've been tinkering on the inheritance app a little. I don't know if anyone has any interest in that, but I thought it was cool. I saw the idea on Bitcoin, and it was just like, yeah, that's a great idea, because Decred has all the tools for it. It has the time locks, and I've tested it on mainnet. It all works. It's pretty cool. So yeah, it's a little fun app, and I believe it'll work with the Passport too. You can have the app on Passport, and you could hold your funds on the Passport and have a means for people to recover the funds, even if they don't have the device themselves. So yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting.
I think there's a lot of scope for anything to do with kind of time lock stuff. So inheritance stuff is crazy, but also the arbitration as well. Anything to do with arbitration is huge. This idea of holding official documents and proving that those documents are yours. There's so much scope there. And we've had time Stamply for absolute years, and I was saying this to Crumbles actually. What would be really cool, because Crumbles has got time Stamply built into Decred Pulse now, and what would be absolutely cool is to be able to store the document with the timestamp. So when it comes to that, you can go through your files and boom, you've got it there without having to worry, and also have some kind of backup system. So if your system dies, you can quickly reload Decred Pulse, and you can upload your backups as well, and you've got all of these files there ready to go. And I mean, yeah, there's a lot of scope in time Stamply that we just haven't delved into yet. Exodus, do you wanna have the final word? And I think we'll call that one a day. But we should definitely do a Twitter space this week if you want to, and see get other people on. Maybe get Tivra on, get SHJ on as well, just to talk about their feelings towards this.
Yeah, thanks everyone for watching. I hope you guys like some of the stuff we demoed here, and hopefully we have proposals and whatnot to get these things live, and not just have them be ideas or demos, but real things that help the Decrypt community. I know some of the stuff I've done for Bison Relay has definitely made me like the app a lot more. It's made it more functional, and there's so much you can do with it. As we said, with Flutter and Dart, it's really a powerful stack. It's not limited at all. You can make a beautiful app using it. It's just a matter of getting the Bison Relay developers to merge some of that stuff. But yeah, these new tools are amazing. Claude, Opus 5. There's other AIs I haven't even used. They were talking one's called like Kimmy or something and whatnot. But yeah, get out there and just build and show your stuff off on Twitter.
Absolutely, thank you, Exus. It's always a pleasure. And let's aim for, I don't know, Wednesday or Thursday for a Twitter space, and get the community's thoughts on this, and take this even further, and get the questions in. Thanks, Exus.